Carrying on from the last video, or if you're joining me here, open up the project.cptx file inside of folder 2. Here we're going to look at panels, and panels allow you to mainly change content or add and rearrange content. Let's take a look. If we first of all start off in the properties panel, I just clicked on the properties panel to bring it to the front. You'll see there's an incredible amount of options available to change how a slide works. Now the property panel will change and adapt depending on what you've got selected. So now I've got nothing selected on my slide, so it gives me the properties for the slide. If I was to click on this animation of the wind turbine, you'll see now it gives me options for animation. Likewise, if I was to click on this button, it will give me options for buttons. So the properties panel constantly changes, depends on what you've got selected. Or again, if I was to click in this grey area just outside of the slide, I will then get the properties again for the slide. Also, we might have tab panels where we can't see the content, and to bring those panels to the front, simply click on the tab, such as the library tab, and you'll then see that all the options for the library come to the front and are displayed. So the property panel is a very important panel which you'll need access to pretty much all the time. The timeline allows you to arrange items and to adjust their timing. Let's take a quick look at the timeline panel. First of all, I can click through at the top of the timeline panel and preview what's going on. So by clicking and dragging, you'll see that the wind turbine animation in fact turns round and a button appears. So simply clicking and dragging in the timeline allows me to preview that. I've got multiple layers for my timeline, and that is purely kind of a structural system. So items at the top of the timeline will be at the top of the stack, whereas items on lower layers will be below. So simply think of them as a stack of books. So the top layer is the top book, and all the other layers are books underneath. So by stacking your books or your layers up correctly, you can display content in the way that you want. So when you do add new content, the content is always placed at the top of the timeline. But it's not such a big problem if it's the wrong way around, because you can simply click on a layer. So clicking on these bars here in the timeline, you can drag the layers up and down as required. In this case, it doesn't make a great amount of difference, but you will see if I drag this text I've got selected, developing future energy sources to power today, below the main image layer, you'll see that the text in fact gets hidden because it's placed behind a bigger image that will now cover it. The film strip panel is just a quick way of previewing slides. For example, if I wanted to see the content of slide 3, I simply click on the film strip, and in the main working area, the content for that slide is then viewed. And I've got various options of being able to rearrange my slides. For example, I could drag slide 3 all the way up to the top. That then becomes slide 1, so the very first slide for my project. I'll just drag that back. So a very flexible way of working and rearranging a project. Now your toolbar, again a very important panel, allows you to add various types of content, such as inserting a text caption, which is basically text, to inserting fancy things like roll-over slidelets. And you'll see that if you're not too sure what they are, just place your cursor over them without clicking. You'll then see a little caption pops up or tooltip pops up to show you or give you a text description of what that tool in fact is. Now you'll see for the drawing tools down here, there's a little black arrow in the corner. That means there's various other tools hidden underneath the one you can see. And to access them, you simply click and hold for about a second, and then this extra panel pops up, like a little drop down menu, which then allows you to choose the various tools, such as the oval tool, rectangle tool, etc. Let's choose the oval tool, and you'll then see that is now the selected item. And if I was to come over onto my slide, click and drag, in fact I now get an oval. Let me just hit the delete key. I'll click OK on the message to say that's fine to delete. And then let's have a quick look up in the toolbar at the top, and you'll see to start off with we can jump between slides by clicking up on the up arrow or on the down arrow, and the little number next to it indicates what slide I'm currently working on or viewing, and this number here tells me how many slides there are in the project altogether. We've also got a preview button, and if I click and hold it down, you'll see there's various ways of previewing the project. We'll come to these options in a second. Or I've got my publish button, and if I was to click on there, it will give me options of being able to publish this current project out in different formats for different tasks. I'll just click on close. Again, we'll look at this in a later project. And then I've got various options of allowing me to design or create my project, such as snap into a grid, show or hide the grid. So a grid, if I just turn it on, you see a grid is like a dotted grid applied over your slide, which allows you to adjust, well, not necessarily adjust, but allow you to design with. So you could align things up to the grid, and you could choose on snap as well, snap to object, so things snap together. So these are just simply methods of designing with, and you've got various ways of aligning, or as I should say, arranging your objects. Bring them to the front so they appear above or below existing objects, and then different ways of working together, turning off background audio, recording audio, and recording additional slides for this project. So lots and lots of options to consider. So that's a quick look at the main panels inside of Captivate. If you do want to add any additional panels, you can always come up to the window menu and you'll find all the additional panels up here, such as being able to create a master slide. You can click on that, for example, and then you'll see a master slide panel does in fact appear. So if you can't see all the panels that you need, come up to the window menu at the very top and click on the option or click on the panel that you want to see. If I just do another one, such as the widget panel, you'll see that after a second or so they will in fact pop up, and then you can use them.